Now, why do you want to keep possession the entire game? Why don't you want to just boom the ball aimlessly? Well, with possession, you control the outcome of what happens. So, if you are playing an SSL, and this SSL never lets you touch the ball, right? The SSL's sole purpose is to try to keep the ball away from you, and you give them a infinite boost, right? Give them an infinite boost, and their entire goal is to keep the ball away from you. How much control over the game do you have? Or do you control anything in this game, or are you just trying to wait for the SSL to make a mistake? That's kind of the purpose of keeping possession, is you control what happens, and depending on your execution depends if you win or lose, right? You're not relying on a back and forth of who makes a mistake first. You're relying on your ability to execute. If you are able to flick in this position, if you're able to low 50 in this, if you're able to cut the ball in this position, you're gonna be able to make an outplay, be able to score, right? You choose who wins. It's up to you. It's up to your execution. It's not, oh, I'm gonna flick this ball, I'm gonna hit this ball really hard, and maybe he'll miss, or maybe he'll get a bad touch. You're not relying on that. You're relying on yourself and your own ability to execute, not your opponent's ability. Okay, you're just punishing your opponent for every position they're in, and trying to create open space. And if you look at ones, for example, ones is a great example of players only keeping possession. Like if you look at a ones player, like you look at Moxie, does he ever give away the ball for any other reason other than the fact that it's dangerous to keep possession? No, he always tries to keep possession when he can, when it's not dangerous. That's the point. It's a great example, because in ones it's so much easier to execute and keep possession. So giving away possession is pretty much a death sentence. But why is it not a death sentence in threes? Well, in threes, you have more players on the field, so making an outplay and hitting the ball to open space is a lot harder, because open space there's so much less open space. And especially as you go up in ranks, open space becomes more predictive than it does reactive. You can't just look at someone and go, oh, this is open space. It's more like how their momentum is going, how much boost they have, where they're going. That is what determines where the open space is. It becomes more and more predictive. And in Pro 3v3, you're having to predict 3 opponents, and where all 3 opponents are leaving open space, which is a lot harder to do. But obviously, if you were able to do that, you're going to have much more success over someone that's just banging the ball because they think they can get some boost deals. Because if you're, again, imagine like a perfect player. Like imagine Nexto, but like an even better version of Nexto. Because Nexto's like, does Nexto need boost to flick the ball? Does he need boost to outplay you? No, he doesn't. A perfect player does not need boost to outplay you. Obviously, at a certain point of lack of boost, like under 10 boost, that is when boost starving really comes into account, and or like 12 boost, like you have 1 pad, and that when you only have that few boosts, it doesn't. That is when boost starving actually matters, right? If you're able to get someone to under 12 boost or to only 12 boost, then do that, because that you're gonna get possession back off of that anyway. But if you're only boost starving for like 30 boost, doesn't matter. They're still gonna be able to outplay you. They're just not gonna have as many options as if they were to have 100 boost. But they're still gonna have near infinite options. Okay, now some things to think about when you're implementing this. Open space is fragile. It's gonna give you an advantage, an inherent advantage from just having possession, but it's also fragile. So if this guy challenges you, you have complete, if you're dribbling the ball, imagine you're just dribbling this ball, you have complete control over where this ball goes. You have complete control if you outplay this guy or not. Right? You have complete control if you take this ball to open space. You could flick it, you could take it around, take it to a sidewall. You have control over that, right? So you have the advantage. And if you decide that you want to 50 the ball, you're going to have an advantage because this guy's having to cover multiple things like a flick. So he's probably going to be a little bit off on the 50. He's not going to just drive straight into the ball and get a 50. He has to cover other options as well, unless he's stupid. So you're going to have an inherent advantage with just keeping possession. But it's also fragile because if you try to flick this ball around him when he's driving and you mess up your flick, or you can't flick it, or you flick it weak, or you flick it right into him, he just dunks you, right? He just dunks you and it's going to be in your net. And you don't have control over where this dunk goes because you're not trying to play for the dunk. You're trying to play for not play. So open space is fragile, and that's why I recommend that you follow some methods first when you're first learning, like only 15 to teammates on offense, or only flicking when you have the ball, or only cutting the ball, or only taking the ball up the wall. That's why I preach simple methods first as you learn, so you can get the balls to start doing other things and start understanding where the open space is. But at the start, if you're just trying to think about everything at once, your decision making is going to be super slow. You're going to be thinking, should I flick it? Should I low 50? What should I do in this position? Just challenge him. You're going to end up doing nothing. And he's going to dunk you. And you don't have control over the dunk. So you're going to get shit on a bunch if you try to do that. And you're still going to get shit on if you do methods, like only 15, but you're going to get shit on less. And you're going to improve faster. Yeah. I think that is the most important thing to know, is that you're going to get shit on when you do this, especially at the start, while you learn it, but it is going to give you control over the game. You're going to have an advantage. It's up to you whether or not you actually, whether you win the game. It's like if you ever see Asa Pathos play, he does this really well as well. He keeps possession really well. It's not, when people play him, it's more about what Asa Pathos does that determines the outcome than the opponent. Because Asa Pathos always has possession. So if Asa Pathos fucks up his flick or something, and they get scored on from it, what was the reason for that goal? Did the opponent do something that led to that goal, or did Asa Pathos do something that led to that goal? It was Asa Pathos. Asa Pathos fucked up. But if Asa Pathos got the flick, he would have scored. So if you do this well, it's just you're the guy that chooses what happens. And I think that's what's most important. And that's how you get to the maximum skill ceiling, is always having control over the game and always choosing the outcome, and just your ability to execute or not affecting whether or not you win. I think that's good enough.